I think you are smart as you are watching this. Let's ask as question or go Google this. Who discovered India? What's your answer and what is Google says? Answer comes like India was not there before Vasco da Gama. It's just a joke. It's lie by progressive historian. He may be a good explorer, but his intention and action were bad. Let's explore him. 1498, a fleet of Portuguese ships appears on the horizon of India's Malabar coast. On board is a man whose name will be etched in history, Vasco da Gama. But this isn't just a story of discovery. This is a story of power, greed, and bloodshed. For centuries, India thrived as the richest spice hub of the world. Its trade was vast, its merchants prosperous. But Vasco da Gama's arrival would change everything. At first, he came as a trader. But he would return as a conqueror. Massacres at sea, burned villages, and centuries of colonial rule. This is the untold story of how Vasco da Gama's voyage exploited India, and set the stage for European domination. What really happened when Vasco da Gama reached India? And why is his true legacy rarely discussed? Stay with us, as we reveal the dark history behind the so-called Age of Exploration. Let's get to details. In 1498, a Portuguese fleet led by Vasco da Gama arrived on the shores of India, forever changing its destiny. What began as a quest for spices soon turned into a tale of conquest, bloodshed, and colonial exploitation. For centuries, Indian spices, black pepper, cinnamon, and cloves, were worth more than gold in Europe. But the spice trade was controlled by Arab and Indian merchants. Portugal saw an opportunity to bypass traditional trade routes, dominate the market, and establish a monopoly at any cost. King Manuel I wanted more than trade, he wanted control. He sent Vasco da Gama not just as an explorer, but as an enforcer of Portuguese rule. On May 20, 1498, Vasco da Gama reached Calicut, modern-day Kozhikode, expecting a warm welcome. But the Indian traders and the Zamorin, ruler of Calicut, were unimpressed by the Portuguese gifts. Vasco da Gama had nothing valuable to offer compared to the thriving Arab and Indian trade networks. The Zamorin refused to grant the Portuguese exclusive trading rights. Vasco da Gama left, but not before threatening violence. When Vasco da Gama returned in 1502, it was not as a trader, but as a conqueror. He arrived with warships, attacked Indian merchant vessels, and slaughtered innocent sailors, many of them unarmed Muslim traders. In one of his most barbaric acts, Vasco da Gama captured a ship carrying over 300 Indian pilgrims, locked them inside, and burned them alive. His message was clear: submit to Portuguese rule, or face destruction. After Vasco da Gama's brutal return, Portugal seized control of Indian trade routes, imposing heavy taxes on Indian merchants. They built forts and naval bases along the coastline, enforcing their monopoly with guns and warships. In 1510, the Portuguese captured Goa, turning it into the center of their colonial empire in India. What started as a search for spices had turned into the first wave of European imperialism. With Portuguese rule came forced religious conversions, destruction of temples, and the brutal suppression of Indian culture. Local traders were heavily taxed or driven out, and anyone resisting Portuguese rule was met with violence. For over 450 years, Portugal controlled parts of India, exploiting its resources and people. It was only in 1961, more than 4 centuries later, that India finally regained control of Goa. Vasco da Gama is often celebrated as a great explorer, but his legacy in India is one of violence, exploitation, and colonial rule. His voyage was not just a discovery, it was the beginning of India's struggle against European domination. History is written by the victors, but the truth must always be told. If you found this video insightful, like, share, and subscribe for more untold histories.